All right, so we got a pretty interesting story here about Tim Walz. So I'm sure you guys know Cornel West. He's like this really great, progressive activist, and he's a professor as well. Really a big Bernie Sanders supporter and everything. And so Cornel is actually running for president. So he's running as an independent. What's fascinating is I think in a lot of polls he's actually matching the Green Party already as an independent candidate. I didn't expect him to be doing this well. 1% nationally as an independent candidate is a pretty big deal. I don't think he's going to be able to get on almost any ballots though. So his impact on the race is likely going to be minimal, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think that Cornel is somebody who is really great, and I think that hopefully towards the end, and I know this is not good because kind of like, we want to have democracy running everything, but because of the way our system is set up with the pluralistic system, not a majoritarian system with the electoral college and everything, it would be better if he dropped out and endorsed Harris, or if he just were to drop out, period. A big reason why Biden, I think, was able to win was because there was actually no presence of really almost any presence of third parties. I think it was like historically low in 2020. So I think just stopping fascism and everything, I think it would be super important for him to do that. But I doubt he's going to do that. Hopefully he does, but we'll have to see. But what we're going to see here is Tim Walz is actually going to get a pretty big compliment from him, and I think it's going to be even further sort of validation as to Walz being a good guy or a progressive or this kind of person. So go ahead and check this video footage out.
Justice and love is about having a moral compass at a moment of such spiritual decay and moral decadence that the lies and the crimes are bombarding us. Let's find a space, spirit of humility, for a quest for truth.
Yeah, and I know this is a fight. I know this is a fight you've been engaged in for more than 5 decades. Before I ask you, about your work in advocacy, on the other side, what do you make of Harris's pickup under Walz?
Well, I mean, Brother Walz strikes me as a very decent man in a corrupt party. And now he's got to somehow deal with the wickedness in high places like any other elected official. And we'll see, they've been able to generate tremendous amount of excitement. And it's a beautiful thing to see people expressing a certain kind of joy. I like to see human joy wherever it is, especially on chocolate sides of town. Black joy is a magnificent thing, given all the ugliness of black sorrow and black.
Wow, so I just feel like this is probably the biggest compliment you could possibly get. To get like a character endorsement from Cornel West where he's like, yeah, man, he seems like a really honest guy, but he's just now in a corrupt party. To get that, I think, is a really, really big deal. Because basically, Cornel West is seems to be a very upstanding dude, like a man of very good character and a judge of very good character. And so for him even to be like, yeah, man, Tim Walz is a decent man. Now, I don't know if you guys saw my videos, but I did a couple videos. One of them was breaking down the finances of Tim Walz. He actually doesn't own any stocks. He doesn't even have any book money, which is really rare for politicians. And so Tim Walz is just this guy. His net worth is actually lower than the average American's net worth, which is crazy. I think he's around the median for someone his age, but he's below the average. To be fair, I think median is typically used more for things like net worth and income. But this is a guy who doesn't have any sort of potential conflict of interest. And I know even if you own stocks, you can put them in a blind trust or whatever that you have to do. But the thing is, when it comes down to that, you have a situation where even if you own stocks, you might be more sympathetic towards things that are generally considered pro-stock, just like you might be with guns, for example. But maybe you're more sympathetic towards stock buybacks or other people who own stocks because you feel empathy of hey, I know what it's like to own stocks. He's like, I don't have shit. He's, I think he took less money. He sold his home for under the asking price. This is just a guy who just clearly does not care about money or any of that stuff. He's a public school teacher. He's just an everyday man. And so I think it was a really great decision again because it allows you to really position yourself against Trump and Vance, as you're the elites, not us, because Trump is kind of hey, Hillary, you're corrupt and this kind of stuff. But imagine trying that against a dude who's a public school teacher who has a net worth less than the average American. And then even Kamala Harris, I think she has a net worth of 10 million. I think she's kind of on par with Vance pretty much. But it's they're both public school people, and it's just, Trump is obviously the billionaire. It's just not going to stick. I think the corrupt thing is completely dead now. I think already in 2020 it was kind of hard to stick, even with the Hunter Biden stuff. But I think now it's just completely gone. I think there's just absolutely zero that you can do about the whole corruption attack. I just think there's Literally zero. But Cornel West saying this, Bernie Sanders coming out and endorsing and all this stuff, I think is all the more sort of confirmation, sort of that Walz is legit. He's honest. He's an everyday man. He's not this corrupt person. And so if even Cornel West is saying this, it kind of goes to show Walz must be a legitimate person. Also, the sort of appeal of Walz must be so massive and grand that he can even pull Cornel West and just pull all of these different people. So pretty fascinating to see Walz is such a good dude that even his own opponent is coming out and saying, yeah, like he seems like an honest dude.